Then please be seated. The court is back in session. And again, the floor is given to the lead co-lawyer for civil parties to continue putting questions to this witness. You may proceed.
Je vous remercie, Monsieur.
Thank you, Mr. President. Good afternoon again, witness. When we broke up a while ago, we were talking of the problem of sick workers and hospitals, and you said workers who are sick on the work site were not sent back to the village as we heard earlier in the hearing. They were sent to the hospital, you said. I would like you to react to the testimony of someone we heard earlier. That person was a civil party, a woman from Barai, and who described a hospital. And I would like you to tell us whether that description tallies with what you knew of hospitals in your district. It is the transcript of 27th of May 2015, and it is Mrs. Un Septani, the civil party, and it is 9:59:44. And Mrs. Un Septani describes a hospital in which his brother was hospitalized and died 3 days later. And this is what she said. The hospital was a former school. That hospital was in a poor condition. It had not been built in bricks. And people who were sick were sent from Barai to that hospital. The sick who were sent to that hospital, as well as the patients and sick attendants, were very thin. They were in very poor health. And she says at 10 hours 1:18 at the time, it was a hospital built in plank and wood. The roof was thatched as well as the walls. It was in very bad shape. There were only a few beds for several patients, and those who did not have any beds had to sleep on the floor. Madam Witness, having listened to my description, did that correspond to the situation of hospitals in the district at the time?
Yeah.
For the Barai area, I had no knowledge. However, for my area, people who were sick from the first dam work site will be sent to a hospital in Kampong Cham, and the hospital was a 2-story or 3-story concrete construction building, and people were provided with treatment, and due to the war, the medicine for the treatment was merely sufficient.
Je vous remercie de...
Thank you. Before the co-investigating judges, investigators, you were more specific when you talked about hospitals in your district, and I'm referring to document E3/5294. The ERN in Khmer is 00348834. ERN in English is 00360117. ERN in French 00367810. And you explained specifically that there was a hospital in the district and hospitals in each of the communes. Did the communal hospitals differ from those of the district hospital you have just referred to?
The district hospital had some medicine for the treatment of patients, although it was not abundant, but it was sufficient. As for other hospitals at the communes or at the cooperatives, we had to assess the condition of the patients If they could be treated at that level, they will be treated there. If the condition was serious, they will be sent to the district, and if it continues to be serious, then the district will refer them to the hospital in Kampong Cham.
Merci, vous avez indiqué.
Thank you. You mentioned a little earlier, in answer to a question put by my colleague, you talked of a hospital in a pagoda. I've referred to a hospital in schools. Regarding other communal or district hospitals, were they all built or housed in buildings that had not been originally designed to be used as hospitals?
Yeah.
For the hospital in my district, it was not built in the pagoda. It was actually located in a commune under the district and not in the pagoda. And as I said, hospitals existed at the district and at the commune or Sangkat level, and we had to resolve the condition of the patients at our level. And if the condition of the patients became serious, they will be referred from the communal hospital to the district hospital. And if it continued to be serious, it will be referred to the provincial hospital from the district hospital.
Je vous remercie.
Thank you. How would you react to what I read out to you earlier, describing the hospital as that civil party had done? And that person said that both patients and sick attendants were very thin and in very poor health. Is that what you observed at the time in district or communal hospitals, the ones you've just referred to?
At my district, I didn't experience such a seriousness as we were in Chamkale area and we had sufficient food. And here I can only testify about the condition in my district or my cooperative.
Je vous remercie. Lors de...
Thank you. When you were interviewed by co-investigating judges, you referred to the visit by Ian Tirith. You referred to that this morning. And it's explained in the same document, E3/5274, same ERNs as those I read out earlier. You stated that you visited hospitals with Ian Tirith. And the following question was put to you. Was Mrs. Ian Tirith aware of the shortage of drugs or medicines in the hospitals? And you answered saying, yes, she was aware of that. And upon her return, she sent us medicines and other materials. Can you explain to the chamber what kinds of medicines were in short supply in the hospitals? Can you please be more specific on this point?
Regarding the medicines, I do not know all of them. Mainly, we stocked medicine for the treatment of fever and malaria. But I am not familiar with the specifications of the medicines we stocked in the hospital.
Je vous remercie.
Thank you. To the best of your recollection, did many people die in the district and communal hospitals? Was that a frequent phenomenon?
In certain cases, we could not save the life of the patients. And in other situations where we could save their lives, we would do our best at our hospital, and if we could not, then we would send them to the provincial hospital.
Je vous remercie.
Thank you. I'll stop this question and move into another line of questioning. I would like to put questions to you regarding marriages celebrated during the democratic Kampuchea regime in your district while you held positions in the district committee. Did you receive instructions or rules from the upper echelon regarding the organization of marriages during that period?
At that time, marriages were organized, and the chief of the commune of Songkran would ask the opinion of the men and women whether they consented to the proposed marriage, and if they agreed, then the ceremony would be organized. It was not a big ceremony, but it was a modest one. And then the chief of the commune of Sangkat would give a speech, and then the individuals themselves, who were the couples, would also make a speech regarding their commitment to one another.
Le district est...
Was the district involved in that procedure?
In certain cases, people from the district made the arrangement, and however, if the ceremony was to be organized and held by the commune, then only the commune level would make such an arrangement. And in other cases, the district chief would attend such a ceremony.
Je vous remercie. Je voulais vous faire...
Thank you. I would like you to react to testimonies we heard earlier in this trial by persons who held similar positions in another district, that is Tramkak district. And those persons were either secretaries or members of the district committee. They made a number of statements before the chamber regarding the organization of marriages. I would like to quote what they stated and have you react to what they said and tell us whether that is how things happened in your own district.
President witness, please hold on, and Council Corporate, you have the floor.
Thank you, Mr. President. I object to this line of questioning. Civil party lead co-lawyer is going to present testimony from a completely different zone. This witness can only testify as to what happened in her district, possibly what happened in the zone, but she cannot give any relevant testimony as to what happened on district or commune level in Tramkok in the southwest zone.
Monsieur le Président.
Mr. President, the idea is not to have the witness react to what happened elsewhere, but what happened in her own district. We are informed of the policy of forced marriages at national level. It is essential for us to ask the witness to help us ascertain whether such marriages were homogeneous across districts and communes. So the purpose of such questions is to have the witness tell us whether in her district, the district under her responsibility, was one in which things happened differently in relation to Tramkok. We've already talked about that. This line of questioning is very relevant and essential as we consider facts relating to these matters today.
President. The Chamber noticed that the objection by the Defense Counsel for Nuon Chea to the question by the political lawyer for civil parties is rather too soon, as the Chamber has not heard the question yet. Let us hear the question first, and the Chamber will decide whether it is appropriate or it should be prohibited. Therefore, the lead co-lawyer for civil parties, you may proceed with your question.
Il s'agit d'une question, mais donc...
This is a question, but I intend to quote a passage from the statement of a witness we heard a few months ago in this courtroom. And that person had responsibilities in Tramkak district, and I quote the transcript E1/291.1. It is the record of the interview of the 3rd of April 2015. It is 9:08 in the morning, and Petchim is a witness I'm referring to, and he is talking of the regulation of marriages in his district, and this is what he stated. Free translation. In fact, we discussed at the level of districts rules regarding marriages, and directives from the zone were taken into account. According to what I was able to observe, there were weaknesses in the practices. People did not all agree to get married. I knew that. We were so occupied at the level of the district that we had to delegate some authority to the unit heads. End of quote. Free translation. My question now, Mr. President. Witness, I've read out to you the excerpt of a statement given by someone who had similar functions in another district. In Prakosol district, did things happen in the same way as regards marriages?
Yeah.
Answer: I was not at the Prakrasop district. I only stayed there initially. Then I moved to Chamkalu district after I got married, and I lived at the Chamkalu district for a year. Although marriages were celebrated at the commune and the district level, the commune itself has the authority to organize the marriage within its commune. And that is my understanding, and that's what happened in my district and communes. And I cannot say about what happened in other communes or districts.
Je vous remercie.
Thank you. And when you sat in the district committee, did you sometimes receive lists from communes, lists of persons who had to be married?
List of those who were proposed to get married. And as I said, I am illiterate, I cannot read or write, and it was up to the district chief who decide whether to agree to the proposal of those on the list. And I was told about that during the meeting. The number of people who were proposed on that list, for instance, 5 couples or 3 couples, I was told about it since I could not read, although I did not see the list itself.
Donc, si je comprends bien, on vous a...
So if I understand correctly, they talked about a list, but you didn't read the list because you didn't know how to read at the time. Was it authorized at the time to organize marriages between new people and base people?
I I can say in some cases, and also it happened in my district, if a commune made such a proposal to the district, and if the district considers that they were good people, then the district would approve the marriage. Although this kind of request or proposal were not many.
Étiez-vous au courant?
Were you aware of instructions from the upper echelon not to favor or authorize marriages between new people and base people? Did you receive any such instructions?
No, that's not the case. Regarding the best people and the new people in the cooperative, if they work together and they had a relationship, and it was up to the chief, their chief, to see whether it was reasonable to organize their marriage. And of course, the upper echelon did not know about what actually happened on the ground. It was up to the chief of those workers on the ground who made his or her observation and decided to approve or not accordingly.
Je vous remercie. J'ai une dernière.
Thank you. I have one last question, Mr. President. And witness, I will read out to you again an extract of the record of interview of Pekchim as a member of the district committee, and he was asked whether there were rules from the upper echelon, and it is transcript E1/291.1, and it's still the 23rd of April 2015, and it is still the morning shortly before 9:08. And the question put to Pekchim at the time was as follows: did you know the rules regarding marriages? And the witness answered as follows. Free translation: regarding marriages, yes. As a matter of fact, I knew that there were rules and I was aware of them. However, these rules did not exist in the form of laws and articles. It was common practice applied from the upper echelon right down to the base, to grassroots. At the time, Madam Witness, were you aware of these regulations, rules and practices regarding marriages which were handed down by the upper echelon?
Regarding instructions on marriages, and I refer to the zone as the upper level in this instance. If we wanted to organize the weddings for our people, or the number of couples that we propose to get married, yes, this process happened. So the district would refer the matter to the sector, and the chain of command was from the commune to the district, and the district to the sector. And then the instruction or the decision would be handed down again in the reverse order, that is from the sector to the district and down to the commune. This is according to my recollection.
Je vous remercie, Monsieur le Président.
Thank you, Mr. President. I believe I've run out of time. I will stop here. Thank you, witness, for answering my questions.
President, my fellow judges, do you have any questions you wish to put to the witness? And judge friends, you have the floor.
Thank you. Madam Witness, you mentioned that workers at the dam were rotated every 3 months. Can you tell me why?
Allow me to tell you that the rotation was organized because the people at the dam work site began to get tired, so they were rotated. Although they were rotated to return to the cooperative, they would not be sitting idle. They would be engaged in other works, including vegetable plantation or digging another dam or canal within the district.
So the rotation was between difficult work or heavy work and easier work.
Yes, the rotation was meant for those workers who were tired from working at the first dam work site and replaced by new forces. Then the old forces will be returned through the cooperative to engage in a kind of a lighter work, namely working in a rice field or in the plantation, digging canal, but in a lighter form of labor. And due to the limited workforce in the cooperatives, the rotation was needed.
Thank you. My next question is to your presence at the dam. You mentioned that you were there at the worksite, I mean. You mentioned you were there frequently, sometimes a couple of days in a row. Now, in an average month, how many days did you go to the worksite? Can you give me an idea?
I didn't go that often to the first January dam work site. I only went there once every 2 or 3 months, as my main duty was involved with the supervision of the workers at the district, and I usually would remain at the dam site for only overnight or two and return to my district.
Okay. My next question is to the selection process. You said workers were selected, workers for the dam were selected. Now, I want to know, could those who were selected say, no, I don't want to work there?
No one actually refused the selection process. Once the district organized the workforce, the people in the district did not refuse, even if it was for the rotation force. And of course, for those workers who worked at the dam site and were replaced when they returned to the district, they were happier than working there at the dam site.
Given that they were obviously not very happy to work at the dam site, why did nobody refuse to work there when they were selected?
The thing is that was the organization by the district, so they did not refuse. If we selected 5 or 6 of them to go to replace the old force at the dam site, none of them refused, as we all tried hard to adhere to work disciplines and regulations, and we worked both at the 1st January Dam work site or at the district.
Were people ever told that they would be punished if they refused to work or to accept the selection?
Yeah.
Answer. We were not told and we were not warned about this fact, and we were only told that we had to respect the disciplines, and there were working times specifically for workers, the time that we had to start work, have meal, and resume work in the afternoon. That's what we were instructed.
Once workers were selected and working at the work site, were they free to say, I don't want to work any longer, I'd rather go home now and not come back?
Yeah.
No one dares to refuse. Angka or Sankat assigned the work, and everyone had to comply with that assignment. No one dares to say, I wanted to go back home and did not want to go to work. No one dared to say like this.
And why did nobody dare say this?
Yeah.
Answer. Because we were told, instructed that we had to work hard so that we could solve people's problems, and we were told that we had to work hard to build the country. No one threatened us. Workers voluntarily wanted to go to work.
Now you have described the situation at the dam, and I think if I sum up your description, one could say these were very difficult working conditions. We have heard even more extreme descriptions. Now my question is, given these very difficult circumstances, do you remember any incident where a worker actually tried to simply run away?
Answer. No one fled from their work sites. Perhaps I could not have the full grasp of the information, but from what I knew, no one fled from their workplace.
And why did nobody flee?
Yeah.
Answer. I do not know. I do not know the matter in detail. In reality, no one evaded work. They were in work, even though they were exhausted and tired.
Now you told us at one point you basically supervised the workforce at the dam. That's what I wrote down. So I'm asking you, were there any orders or directives from your superiors on what to do if people didn't want to be recruited were selected, or if people ran away? Was there any directive, any order?
Answer. As for the time that I was in charge of workforces at the 1st January dam site, as I stated repeatedly, I was not there constantly and regularly. I was in the district to be in charge of people. I rarely went to the work site. I was a female member and I had small children at that time. For this reason, I did not went there quite frequently, or I was not there constantly with workers. But I knew and heard the instruction that I had to organize cooperative in such a way, etc. As I told the court earlier, I was in charge in the district for a period of only 1 year.
My last question is to these instructions. You told us earlier that you went to Phnom Penh occasionally, among other things, to get these instructions. Now, were these regular trips? I mean, once a month? Or were these random trips, meaning when you were summoned, you came? Or was it a fixed date every, I don't know, first Monday per month, we go to Phnom Penh and get our instructions? Yeah.
Answer. I would like to inform the chamber that when Angkar asked me to come to Phnom Penh to join the study session, I would come. As I stated, I came with many of my colleagues, my cadres, in the many tracks, and we came to receive the assignments to be implemented and enforced in our respective districts.
I didn't hear translation of quite a long bit. I heard the witness talking and didn't get a translation. Okay. My question to you then is, in the year in which you were in charge, how often did you go to Phnom Penh on such trips? On trips where you got information and instructions on work?
Answer. Sometimes I would be in Phnom Penh for 2 or 3 days and I would return to my place. I at times was there for 1 or 2 nights to receive assignments.
And how many trips did you make in this, I think you said, year?
Answer. From my recollection, I do not recall how many times per year I went to Phnom Penh, but I recall that I went to Phnom Penh to receive assignment and tasks from the upper echelon.
Let me try again. Are we talking 2 or 3 times, or are we talking 10 or 20 times? I don't expect an exact number, but I would like to have an idea of the frequency.
Answer: I do not remember it. I do not remember I came to Phnom Penh once a month, or how many times per year I came to Phnom Penh. I remembered it in the past, but I forget it all. Perhaps I went to Phnom Penh once in every 2 or 3 months, or once a month, to receive the assignments and tasks. I, once again, would like to tell the court that I do not recall it.
Thank you. That concludes my questions.
President, you may proceed, Judge Laverne.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Madam Witness, I have a question to put to you right away. What were you told in Phnom Penh? What were you exactly told in Phnom Penh? And whom would you meet? You said that you had met Nun Chea, for example. Can you confirm that?
Yeah.
Answer: yes, I met him. He arranged workforces in the for the districts. He arranged tasks, and he instructed how to dig the canals, how to work in the fields, and he also discussed how the cooperatives were to be arranged. These are the instructions I received from him.
Did he speak about the class struggle? Did he speak about the enemies? Did he speak about CIA and KGB agents?
Yeah.
Answer: no such discussion about class struggle or CIA spy agents. I did not receive any instruction in relation to this matter.
So, what did the instructions consist of with regard to the organization of the labor force? You said that you would go to Phnom Penh once every 2 or 3 months. So each time you went there, would you meet Nun Chea, or would you meet other leaders?
Yeah.
Answer: I did not meet any other leaders, and I also did not meet Nun Chea many times. He was in charge of education and propaganda. He instructed about the cooperatives, and he also mentioned that the farming should be conducted in a numbers of times per year, and he also discussed about the care on people as well.
Would Nunchia inform himself on the situation on the site? Did he try to get to know if there was enough food, for example, if people were complaining regarding production that was below what the party might have expected?
Answer: he asked about it, but most of the time he would ask how the cooperatives were organized and what was the livelihood of the people, and what about the health situation of people. That's the question he asked.
Madam Witness, when you were working at the district committee, did you ever receive any complaints from the cooperative leaders stating that the harvest was not plentiful enough and that there were problems in terms of food? Did you receive any complaints of that kind?
Answer: in Chamkala district, allow me to tell the court, the yield was good, so the living condition was better and good. And there was question why the people did not have 3-time meals per day, since there was a good harvest and yield.
Madam Witness, I'm going to read your testimony before the co-investigating judges. It's document E3/5294, French ERN 00367805 to 06, English 00360113 to 14, Khmer 0034883431. Corrects interpreter. Question: did you receive any complaints or any requests from your subordinates? Answer: yes, I did. The head of the cooperative and the team leader challenged the fact that the rice yield was high, whereas the people did not have enough food. I also forwarded this complaint to the district committee, and the district committee forwarded this complaint to the superiors, who never responded. The paddy was also exported abroad, free translation. So can you confirm that what I just said?
Answer: the statement is correct. I made the request to the upper echelon because people in Songkat mentioned that there was high yield and good yield, and why the people did not have enough food to eat. Why there was some food shortages. There were requests from Songkats, and the requests were also forwarded to districts and sectors. after the requests were made to those sectors, Songkat and district, there were no replies.
Madam Witness, when the cooperative leader complained of a lack of food, in your opinion, was he saying the truth or was he lying?
Answer. Cooperative chiefs never told lies. They spoke the truth and made requests to the upper echelon for resolution. But lack of food did not exist in all Sangkats or district. Some Sangkat and district had a problem with food. In Jamkala district, the food was enough, and I did not know about other places.
Why did the higher echelon never respond to these reports that you would forward to it?
Answer. I have no idea. There was no response. So how could I say about this? I have no idea at all.
Why was the paddy rice exported if the people did not have enough food to eat?
Answer. I do not really understand either. I was not the senior cadre, so to speak in short, I did not care to question this. The report was sent and forwarded to sectors and upwards, but there were no responses. I do not understand about this matter.
According to you, who decided on the production quotas that had to be sent abroad? Was it the district, was it the sector, or was it a higher echelon even?
Answer. I was not the one who held the list. Sangkats would tell me that some food, rice, would be kept for cooperatives, and for the surplus, they would be used and sent for soldiers, not for abroad. What I was told at that time.
According to you, Madame, was the food situation on the 1 January Dam work site better than in the cooperatives?
Answer. The regime or the government provided perhaps a better food at the work site. I am not mentioning other districts. I am mentioning the situation in my district. The district committee visited cooperatives, and we were told by the Sangkat chief that there was no problem with food. and I do not really understand about the fact that there was lack of food.
Madam, I don't understand either. You're telling me that the cooperative leaders would not lie when they said that there was a lack of food, and now you're saying the contrary, that you don't understand. So, what don't you understand? You don't understand if they're telling the truth or if they're lying?
Answer. I would like to state that why I do not really understand. I don't understand because I knew that the rice yield was good and there was surplus. And Sangkat chief told me that food was sufficient for villagers and everyone. But the workers at the dam work site said the food was not enough. From my understanding, when I visited cooperatives, rice or grains were there in cooperatives.
So according to you, the cooperative leaders were lying. If you're saying that you went on site and you saw that there was rice, when you would receive, therefore, reports saying that there was a lack of food, there's obviously someone there who's lying.
Answer. Perhaps so. And in some cooperative there were many people, so food was not enough. And in some cooperative there were not many people, so food was surplus. And as for the report whether chiefs of cooperative were lying, I do not know. I visited only a few cooperatives. That is what I saw, and I told the court already.
Selon vous,
according to you, who provided the rice needed for the feeding of workers on the 1st January dam work site? Was it the cooperatives, an upper echelon, the district, the sector, or the national level that had to send rice to those people?
I only had certain knowledge on this issue. I didn't know about the arrangement at the various level. However, the zone was responsible for the organization of the force, for managing the living condition, and the sector also had certain responsibilities, although I do not know the details about that. However, I myself did not supervise or manage the people at the 1st January dam work site. It was under the supervision mostly of at the zone level in terms of food supply and the health condition of the workers there, as well as the sick people.
j'ai une dernière question, madame.
This is my last question, madam. From what you were able to see with your own eyes on the 1st January dam work site, did people eat to their fill or not?
As I said, there were tens of thousands of workers, and I only could say for the smaller portion of those workers from my point of view, as I did not go everywhere to observe the living condition. And for the group of workers whom I observed, they had sufficient food to eat. There was abundance of dry fish which was sent from Tonle Sap to those workers. So there was no lack of food for the people whom I observed. And when I was there, they ate boiled rice, and I joined them. Though I could not go everywhere to observe the living conditions of all the workers at the dam site.
Voilà, je crois compte tenu de l'heure, on va s'arrêter là.
I believe we'll have to stop here because we don't have any time left.
President, thank you. Today's hearing comes to an adjournment now. We adjourn for today and resume tomorrow. That is Friday, the 5th of June 2015, starting from 9 o'clock in the morning. Tomorrow, the Chamber continues to hear the testimony of this witness, Su Suen. This information is for the parties and the public. And Madame Su Suen, the Chamber is grateful of your presence and testimony as a witness. However, it is not yet concluded, and you are therefore invited to return tomorrow. And Madame Chai Maridain, the TPO staff, the Chamber is grateful of your support during the testimony of this witness, so that she is able to focus on her testimony. And again, you are invited to continue your role here in this court. And court officer, in collaboration with WISU, please make a necessary transportation for Madame Su Suen to return to her place of stay and have her return to attend the proceedings in this courtroom tomorrow at 9 o'clock. Security personnel, you are instructed to take the two accused back to the ECCC detention facility and have them return to attend the proceedings tomorrow before 9 o'clock in the morning. The court is now adjourned.